Yeah. It's my favorite as well.
I think climax is too late. It has a really good...
Good word choice.
That's a good problem to have.
Good choice.
That I'm actually a strong, independent woman, and I'm not a doll that you men can control and manipulate, right? Whereas if you don't understand the lyrics...
Look at August while saying that.
Are you angry at me?
Man,
You get back.
you. Hello viewers, welcome back to
Hello,
Eurovision
friend.
is My Religion.
Hello.
Another week, some more progress on the Eurovision front, which we are eager to discuss. Right, let's kick off with the biggest news that we received this year. I would say unprecedented news. Have you guys heard that Moldova has pulled out of this year's Eurovision? Any
No.
reactions? Discuss.
No.
I know we have some hardcore Moldova fans around the table. Katrina?
I wouldn't say hardcore, but I tend to enjoy some of the bangers they normally send. So it's a shame. I normally have high hopes for Moldova. So
Usually it's the same band that sends the bangers.
normally they choose between like one of the three bands. And
Yeah. It's usually either Epic Sax Guy or the Train Song or
Nobody even knows the name of Epic Sax Guy actually band.
Sunshine Project.
Sunstroke Project.
Sunstroke Project, yeah.
Close
Same.
enough. Close
Yeah.
enough.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's a shame. So how come?
So
That was such a fake question.
As if I haven't spent hours on Reddit investigating the reasons.
I mean, if August asked that question, maybe I would have bought it. But I mean, you do the most detailed research from all of us. Anyway, yes, I can pretend that I know more than you, which is definitely not true. From what I've heard, the pool of talent was just not talented enough this year.
Oh, even the sisters guy.
Yeah, the married, the twins guy, I don't know if he didn't participate. I don't remember actually.
Maybe he's taking care of a family.
Maybe he's taking care of his very big and convoluted family. So the auditions did not produce any good participants, I would say.
Well, it's all up for debate what is good and what is not, but certainly they chose not to
proceed.
Yeah.
Not to proceed with it. Yeah.
Because they only held the auditions, right? They didn't even proceed with actually organizing the final that would give the participants an opportunity to improve on their vocals, on the performance, on the visuals.
I think how many years do we have between the audition and the performance?
Just a few weeks, so they deemed that was not enough. But he also quoted the national broadcaster, I think, quoted some financial problems and difficulties.
I think the fact that it's in Switzerland, we're kind of not in the best economic environment, or maybe recovering from previous economic downturns. Maybe that's kind of contributing to the decision as well. I did find it interesting. I didn't fact check this because, who needs that? But yeah, we're not about facts, we're about vibes. But someone on Reddit said that it's the first year that none of the returning Eurovision participants participated in the auditions. So none of these kind of groups that they, or projects that they send.
Yeah.
And maybe that kind of created this impression that there was just not enough good.
A lot of people did return to try to win.
Yes.
Like our beloved Grandpa Tudor. But none of the previous participants, came back to try again. I see. Interesting.
So maybe that kind of brought the quality,
the overall
in
quality.
the kind of jury's perception a little bit. But
yeah. I mean, if you have a guy that needs to read the lyrics of the song off of his phone during the auditions, that kind of tells a lot.
That kind of guy, I truly believe he would have improved because the bar is so low. Learn the lyrics of your own song.
Also, maybe it was the draft edition of a song. We've heard those are allowed as well.
Yeah.
I also wanted to add, how many of you think that you remember last year there was a bit of a scandal when Moldova's I don't remember her name,
Natalia.
Natalia was really pissed off that she didn't get through to the final, wasn't?
Yeah.
And she also blamed Bambi Thug for bringing heretics, I don't know,
demonic
nudity and devil
and stuff like that. Do you think it's the work of a demon that Moldova cannot participate?
Conspiracy number 1 of this episode.
An actual demon
Yes.
entity. Oh.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Or maybe the church not allow anymore.
I think I'll stick to the financial troubles and the lack of the talent pool on this occasion.
The demon that is capitalism. Am I right?
Fair.
All right. Anything else on Moldova before we move on to the countries
No,
that
just really hope they'll come back next year.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, they did indicate that in the press release that they are looking to come back stronger. So hopefully it's just a one-off, and we'll see
And with
them.
a like refreshed, improved, hopefully, system of selecting an artist.
Oh yeah, too long of a system that they have.
Exactly. Potentially next year they will just down select a couple of professionals themselves and will approach them personally and suggest to participate.
As long as the grandpa gets through to the final, I'll be happy.
That's all that matters.
This professional of the auditions.
He's the most experienced one there.
Yeah.
Moving on. So, countries that did decide to participate in this year's Eurovision and proceed with their selection final.
And had a slightly different budget to organize their show.
Very different budget from what I've seen, almost Eurovision-like budget. So, moving on to Luxembourg, another country that already finalized their selection. And we're going to listen and react to the winning song. Right? The winning
Those intro effects.
It's very bright.
Obviously. Supposed to look like a doll, looking like a doll.
Yeah, she's a marionette.
Very good. And I think she's quite good at that. Looking like marionette.
Looking like a doll. She excels at that.
Is that like a compliment? I'm not sure now.
The best doll I have seen.
I love when they have memorable lyrics. Na, 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 na.
It's memorable, catchy, but rather simple.
What, you don't like that?
Understatement of the year. Na, na, na.
Oh. Change.
I did not expect this.
Another kind of doll, if you know what I mean.
Sexy.
Oh my god. Inflate.
Okay, we are trying to exit junior Eurovision and enter adult Eurovision.
Clearly.
Interesting hairstyle, right? The big hair horn.
Hair horn.
I've never seen this.
Just to give you a bit of context, this singer is also a vocal coach. So any criticism of her vocal abilities, please keep it to yourself. She's kind of, I think, not just a singing coach, but also kind of plays multiple instruments, which she obviously didn't show in this performance, and has multiple degrees in music.
So a very impressive woman.
Theory, I don't know how to pronounce this word in English. Pedagogy?
Good CV.
Pedagogy.
Anyway, so very experienced, very qualified.
But a good CV does not mean good execution.
Proceed to elaborate on your comment, please.
Can you sing, if you can sing well, that's one thing, but can you sing as a marionette and dance at the same time?
I think she did an okay job. It could and it will be improved over the coming months. I think it's a decent start.
Are you her agent? It will be improved.
It will be improved, of course. I think it's a decent start of what she's trying to accomplish. I'm just not sure whether she's translating the message that she wants to translate very well.
Okay. And what is the message?
I was thinking, who will ask that question? It's not like if somebody prepared it to say that.
Because I haven't looked into this into much detail.
I did.
My understanding is, so please correct me if I was wrong, if I'm wrong. But my understanding that, well, in a way she's paying homage to Luxembourg's winner
In 65, right?
1965, exactly. Who also sang a song referencing dolls, La Poupées, in French. But in the 1965 song, it was about a woman who's like a doll being controlled by a man, whereas she is trying, I can't quote the lyrics, but the message is supposed to be that I'm actually a strong, independent woman and I'm not a doll that you man can control and manipulate, right? Whereas if you don't understand the lyrics...
Look at August while saying that.
Are you angry at me?
Man,
You get back from control. Your dirty man, hairy fingers.
But basically, looking at that performance, I'm not getting that impression of a strong, independent woman. I'm getting
the doll impression.
Exactly.
The doll. Yeah. And she undresses as well.
Yeah, so I don't think she's like translating that message very well.
Or is she laughing at it? Like in an ironic way, doll, and it's so absurd, and she's laughing and going with it.
But unless you saw the lyrics, would you be able to tell that she's ironic in the song?
A little bit, because she's a little bit jolly,
it
a little
bit like over the top,
cheeky,
kitschy. Like so, maybe that's kind of a bit ironic. But
is it over the top? For me, it's just like a junior Eurovision performance, like a very nice, very polished, girly performance.
I'm sure I saw this comment somewhere, and now I'm worried that you made that comment. And now I'm just referencing comments that Katrina makes on social media.
But I wish she was even more camp and kitschy, you know, like maybe then we would really understand the irony. I think she's not enough.
But maybe
kitschy.
That's the thing. It's a classic kitschy. You know, it's like, if you make it so kitschy, it becomes like, you know,
total joke song.
Yeah, understand what you're trying to say. It's a joke song almost, but she's not trying. Yeah. It's very like subtle.
Yeah.
But again, translating that subtlety on a Eurovision stage for people who have no lyrics, nothing.
Don't speak
very
French.
difficult. Unless you show it to their face.
Yeah. Because right now she literally looks just a cute little doll. Very, very,
very cute though.
Very cute.
What could she do to make it? Sorry.
I was about to answer your question before you even asked it.
Nice.
Pointing fingers. Man.
No, go ahead.
Staging has to
go ahead, woman.
Right? Like the staging has to.
I'm not control. I abdicate control. I give up control.
Because August usually says the least comments.
No. What I was gonna ask, what could she do to make it more clear?
The message.
And I was about to answer your question.
Exactly. Go ahead.
I think it has to come through improved staging, right? Like, I don't know, like you either, as Katrina said, you either go more camp or you kind of go in another direction, kind of dropping the whole like doll kind of routine, the pink clothes and everything, and kind of show the strength.
I'd like to see her manipulating the dancers, right? Rather than the other way around. Yeah.
And that kind of costume change, I don't know if it's kind of detrimental to the message as well, because you kind of, look at me taking my clothes off.
Again, could be, I suppose, ironic.
It could be like
without the message.
I'm a strong, independent woman, but to me, it just look like, look, I'm again like showing more of my body to the man.
I'm sorry.
It's all for you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I exist. I'm sorry. I'm bad.
I think I find that so understand the message, understand that it's meant to be, I assume, ironic. But it's funny that she does use all like general Eurovision cliches, generally speaking. Like she does the whole change of clothes. She has dancers. Then she does a note at the end and stuff like that. Could the performance be improved if it wasn't so cliche from Eurovision standpoint as well? Mm-hmm. Or she's mocking Eurovision too, or she's like double agent. Things.
And for me, song-wise, I know I said I love na 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 na, but it just kind of gives this like really cheap vibe to me when the chorus is na 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 na. I mean, it's very memorable, very suitable for a junior Eurovision.
Yeah. Except for maybe the clothes change.
Yeah.
Right. So are we thinking it's a qualifier, not a qualifier? Don't tell me you have to see
Yet to
how
be
good the
seen.
year is.
Depends how many children are voting, I guess. I think generally, I think children could potentially like a song like that because it's very
Children
simple.
as early as of age of 3 in Sweden.
Exactly. Yeah. It's memorable. She's cute. If she makes the performance a bit more memorable and the dancers are not as blended in the background, I would say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think with that kind of money, I think they can push it through. I think they can. And if they do a lot of campaigning about the message and so you know how they introduce the songs at the start, the commentators, if they bring up the message sometimes, if she really pushes for that I think could be understood a bit better. And because it's catchy, people will remember it.
Yeah.
Unless it's like placed first in semi-final. A bit difficult then. But August wanted to say something.
I just wanted to say, don't you think this message is a bit... I'm not out of fashion, but it's already even a little bit cliche with Netta's toy having been I'm not your toy.
Of course you would say that as a man.
No, but I agree.
Control.
I think the original angle here is like almost rectifying the message that Luxembourg sent back in 1965 with their original song about dolls.
It took them many years to rectify it. There have been many
absent for
last year.
But I don't think that enough people will appreciate this link between this song and their song from 65.
I mean, you have to be like hardcore Eurovision fan to like remember the songs from 65.
And let's face it, none of us knew about that unless we read the research.
It was a winning song, so we
so
you should have known.
Yeah.
So Katrina knew, everybody else didn't.
When you watch these videos, all Eurovision winners ever, like you would hear it. But it's most people would have never heard it and would not make that connection and that appreciation.
And I agree though. I agree with Focus. I think the message was, I usually support my message, generally speaking. I think it's...
Just to clarify, I don't hate women.
Yeah, I like them. I just think, it's not out of fashion, but there is a bit of, there has been so many songs declaring very, very similar things over the past few years in particular. It's not like environmental message or something new, fresh, pushed like
plastics.
Against plastics and stuff like that. I think it can be a bit like, another song how, women cannot be controlled. Sorry. Shouldn't be controlled.
Or you have to add like another angle to it, right? Like it can't just be like, I'm a strong, independent woman, because it's been said numerous times in Eurovision in the past 10 years.
But how I'm not your doll doesn't...
that's literally lyrics from
toy
song.
Doll. Doll is a toy.
Yeah.
Unless it's a different type of doll.
Yeah. Very different vibe though from Netta's.
Yeah.
So I'll have to give her that.
Have you seen any other performance do you think would have done better in Eurovision from Luxembourg's national selection?
I only watched the snippets. I don't think I have seen performance that would have done better on Eurovision stage as it's given.
Despite the fact, I watched the selection live on Saturday, and despite the fact that it was very, very entertaining to watch, and I loved it, they had Conchita as one of the hosts.
Oh, that's good.
Nice. Yeah.
They had a real, supposedly real proposal on live.
Okay. Oh, no.
Conchita was like in the audience asking like, does anyone in the audience have any questions for any of the musicians tonight or blah blah blah, and some guy raised the hand and had some question for someone, and then the other guy says like, yeah, I have a question, and he stands up and then proposes.
That is
to the musician or to
no to the
I mean the questions were to the musician, so wasn't the right time.
I'm not fully sure if it was real or not, but
100% staged.
They made it very believable. Production was amazing, fantastic show. But to answer your question, Gerda, I don't think so. I'm just looking at my notes. Probably my personal preference was Luzak, the schoolboy,
the green collar.
Yeah. Okay. But not he would not have necessarily done much better than the winner.
Have you noticed that Ken from Barbie participated in the song and sang about gambling as well, whilst jumping around and seemingly being very cheerful about the topic? That left me.
Which song was that? Was it One Last Time?
Gambler's Dream.
Oh, Gambler's Dream.
Yeah. It's like a cheap Ryan Gosling there on the stage.
I mean, I'll take it.
I mean, obviously, like I'll take any kind of
any
Ryan
proposal.
Gosling.
Yeah,
or any proposal for that matter.
There's Ryan Gosling dolls.
That could be anything.
You can find them anywhere.
Yeah.
What I did find interesting was that Laura obviously because of her vocal abilities won the jury vote.
Landslide.
Yeah, landslide. She didn't win the public vote. The public was more persuaded by the second place winner, 0.5 with the song Ride. And
Ride.
Yeah, it's the last one that's performed in the show. And I think we kind of discussed it before the podcast that it sounds a lot like some song that we can't.
Please tell us in the comments which song does it sound like, because it's some sort of Avicii in his country era, but from Wish, or like these bands like Wild Youth or Monsters and Men.
Like Imagine Dragons, but a bit more.
Not as imaginative.
I definitely heard that song before.
Yeah, but they had like so many votes from the public. I think like
apparently
overwhelmingly.
They're very, very famous and popular in Luxembourg, and they're on radio all the time.
Right.
Yeah, so they're just very lovable and loved.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't enjoy the performance because I thought the song was very basic and reminded me of something. So, yes, please comment below and
over here
relieve me of this nightmare where I can't remember the song name.
But you kind of know, but you cannot know. But it's kind of there.
But yeah, so we think Laura was the right choice, and we are quite confident that she'll qualify if she improves.
I think Luxembourg is a country. They'll push it. They'll push this through. I don't think it will perform well in the final, but I think it will end up in the final. Unless it's a crazy semi-final and she's like performing first.
Push it, Luxembourg. Push it.
Push it. Okay, guys. So in addition to Luxembourg final, we've also had already 3 heats from the Lithuanian selection, which we haven't discussed before. I'm very eager to hear your views. So yeah, we're halfway through the process. We have 6 participants that were chosen to the final. Some interesting choices, some controversies. I love a good controversy. So yeah, maybe I'll start with the controversy because I just want to get it off my chest. So in the most recent heat 3, we had 3 participants on even vote count. So all top 3 places had 20 points. And only 2 make it to the final.
After you combine the jury votes
and because the Lithuanian system promotes the jury vote as opposed to the public vote. One of those bands, which was favorite with the public, didn't make it. So,
but I think
it was
favorite by public is almost an understatement, because they got more votes than any of the qualifiers in any of the heats so far, by far more, double the number. So yeah, public favorite. It's an understatement, and it's such an overwhelming support for a band, and we won't even see them in the final.
Yeah, crazy.
Which one is the Visai Man Reik?
Yeah,
the Segment Rake by Black Biceps. Yeah. It's actually a really fun song.
It's so fun.
I don't know if it would qualify in the overall Eurovision, because sometimes these kind of joke fun songs don't do really well. Like one of the recent memories is kind of Latvia's performance with
Seed Salad.
I would compare it to last year's Estonia.
Oh yeah,
I think it would fill in this kind of gap.
Or Give Wolf a Banana.
I don't know. I mean, it does. I like the song, and I think the public vote was sort of correct, and I saw what they saw. But I think we've sent in Kulta before, who are the same vibe. We've seen similar types of performances. It's nice and enjoyable performance to watch, but I think they just don't go very well in Eurovision unless there is something crazy special.
Sometimes they don't.
Estonia and Moldova, I would put them in the same category, and they
but the song didn't have anything so Moldova's song, Epic Sax Guy, they had an Epic Sax Guy.
Oh, I'm talking about the train song.
The train song.
I would put it in the same category to the train
Bucharest,
song.
Bucharest.
Estonia. Yeah.
But that was
Exactly.
more like folk.
Yeah, folky, whatever. Not even folky. How you call it?
Folksy.
For me, it kind of brought back memories from Latvia's performance, and that's why I kind of thought sometimes they don't do well, even in recent years. But nonetheless, I felt like it was a more memorable song than the two that qualified ahead.
Yeah.
So it was just, I don't know, really disappointing to see that the system really favored them.
You have to take into account the context of like Gabrasi, who got through, and that song is just it's so generic. Such a generic song.
Yeah.
But this one, whilst I think it wouldn't have been performing well in Eurovision, I appreciated that it's different. It's ours, it's theirs, and it's sort of
fun.
more interesting.
And they made references to our previous Eurovision entries and performances as well, like LT United and I think in Kulto as well with their dance moves. I think they would have qualified as well. But yeah, am I too hopeful to hope that LRT will come through and say, okay, because this song got more support than any of the other song throughout the 5 heats, if that's to be the case, would they say, we'll let you
also
be in the
added?
Because currently a lot of people are very outraged and saying, okay, like I'm not going to even watch the final now because...
Is there a petition? Can we sign a petition?
I'm signing a petition.
Can we start a petition?
Yes,
sign right there.
In the comments below and subscribe.
Put your name and card numbers and PIN codes.
I think you are too hopeful.
But I mean,
I'm going to hold on that hope for now.
I mean,
it's kind of unprecedented situation, right? Like I don't remember there being
but
anything.
there is a reason why they have a rule already, so they thought of the situation, literally.
Well,
if
think
it was a situation where there was no such, like that jury then sort of takes precedence, then you would be like, well, clearly there's a gap. Now, if I was Gabrasi, I was like, lawsuit.
Well, that's why I'm not saying get rid of Gabrasi. Just
add
make I'm sure they have another slot in the final. They have it's 3 weeks away. They can sort out the logistics.
Yeah, just kick somebody else.
We have a list.
Oh my god!
Everybody else who could go out.
This whole process is very frustrating. It's way too many songs.
Yeah, it's
way too many
5
heats.
In Lithuania.
The heats are very imbalanced. You have way too many good songs in some heats and not enough decent songs in some others.
Yeah.
And then you only qualify 2 out of 10. Yeah.
Would you say the last heats tend to have better songs? So we're almost like building towards the final?
Last year, Luxembourg performed in heat 1.
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay. So not every time.
But I think last year, that's why I was kind of hopeful, because we already had like a very good start. This year, it felt... I kind of liked a few songs from Heat 1, then I really didn't like Heat 2, and then Heat 3, I did like a song and then got disappointed because it didn't make it to the final. So I'm kind of in this mood that it's a bit blah. Like I'm not happy with the process because it didn't start right for me.
Yeah. I feel similar. So any personal favorites so far?
Favorites? No, but Petunia was quite interesting. Was she 2 or 3?
She was 2, actually.
She was 2.
Oh, yeah. So maybe I did like somebody from
song
2.
was interesting. Good to listen to in the car for me.
Yeah, I think she reminded me of Linkytė's performance a little bit, but with a bit of edge, because she brings these like kind of, again, folksy, not folksy.
Yes, it is folksy.
But kind of these like traditional elements.
Yeah.
But it's a lot more like electronic and a bit more modern than Linkytė's performance.
Is it Lithuanian folksy in terms of melody? It sounded like it.
It's more, I think, the
clothing and everything also, like
the singing. I think it's kind of like
it's like a rhythmic.
That rhythmic singer, traditional one. Yeah, it's my favorite as well.
I think it climaxes too late. It has a really good
good word choice.
That's a good problem to have.
Good choice.
It still climaxes, but a bit late. Because it has this good electronic part and she sort of dances and moves and stuff like that. But I think it comes so late that it could, without knowing the lyrics.
Comes so late as well. all of these
It could be a
in
bit
2
like,
sentences. Sorry.
By that point, I think the listener could be switched off, because before that it's very monotonic in the way the song goes. And I think that I really like the sort of electronic end bit, the climax.
It's really good.
But I think it's just a bit too late.
The ejaculation.
And I'm just worried also that...
Sorry, you're worried that viewers will be bored.
And also the folk thing. So very big last few years as well. I've been trying to catch the train that is sort of moving on. We are trying to catch...
You think the train is leaving?
Yeah, the train is leaving to Bucharest.
And we're still trying to board it.
And we're trying to now push this folksy thing in. And I'm like, well, I think probably the theme maybe have passed. What if we're looking for something new or something of ourselves rather than copying the trends of the past?
Maybe. I still like it.
I still like it, and also Linkite is...
And I didn't like Linkite.
I didn't like Linkite, but she was one of the better performing songs in Eurovision in recent years, because the 2 songs that I did like, Monica Liu and Sylvester Belt, actually performed worse than Linkite. So
unbelievable. Yeah.
Who am I to judge, right?
What is really in, I believe, still very in, not a trend that is leaving, not a trend that is leaving, is singing in your own national language.
Yeah. Especially for Lithuania and stuff like that.
I think people are really appreciating national languages these days.
As a previous hater of singing national languages, I am a convert and I understand a bit more.
Yeah.
And my other 2 favorites have not qualified to the final. I liked the Kurnamai from the first semi, and I liked Black Biceps.
I really liked that Kurnamai. I found it really weird, but I could not stop listening to her, and I really liked her whole point of sadness is okay, and it happens to everybody, and we need to be able to accept it and live with it. I really liked that message. I think that she could have been a bit more charismatic, but I suppose, you have levels of charisma, and maybe with staging it could be improved.
It could have been, improved.
But I really liked it. I found it weird, interesting, a bit too witchy. Again, the trend is passing probably, but I enjoy that. I was pleasantly surprised with that.
And very theatrical. Just, I think it had a lot of potential.
Yeah,
a lot of potential, because a lot of these songs already exhausted their potential, whatever it was.
Yeah,
whereas that one.
But I think on this one, it really didn't help which segment of the song they picked for the recaps. Because if you haven't listened to the full song, it just sounds very off-key and just
weird.
Weird.
Yeah, agreed.
So I think maybe that was a bit damaging to the result. Yeah. Although I did like from the first heat, the Anya. I think he's Nigerian, right?
Yeah.
In Eurovision, multiple
Literally
times.
By a Swedish guy.
By John Ludwig, but at least
that's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
At least I was not cringing when I was listening to him, because
such a good performance.
It was well produced. It was well written. It looked good, and I was like, okay.
It was quality. A quality melody festival in reject.
After already performing such song at Eurovision stage.
It wasn't even rejected.
But it's really there. In the finals.
Right. Any other favorites or any other disappointments from the Lithuanian selection? I think there were many disappointments, but
I think there are still many to come. So let's see how it goes.
Let's recap next week in terms of what we're seeing next. Anyway, Lithuania's heats will continue, so we'll continue to cover them. But the last final news that came out recently is that the semi-final draws have been announced. I'm sure we'll have a lot more speculations in terms of how that affects the qualifying odds when we hear a few more songs. But I guess to our Lithuanian viewers, I did note that we are performing in semi-final 2, which is the same as the UK semi-final. So I will be probably voting if we end up selecting something.
Even if Gabrasi is selected?
Wait,
we'll talk about that.
said if we select something decent. If we don't, you won't vote.
Yeah, nice caveat.
Once again, Lithuania was drawn to the first half. So I fear that we will be performing second or third just like we did for the past many years.
What can we do?
Nothing.
What can we do? Nothing. I did see a meme that suggested that the first semi-final is stronger.
Why?
Sweden.
Okay.
Yeah, but Sweden is good, but it's not.
Okay, Sweden, Ukraine.
These days
Ukraine, Portugal, I would say, is a strong performance normally.
Always a weird
Could
one.
be strong, could be weird.
Belgium. So interestingly, sorry, I mentioned Belgium, which I remembered now. I know the odds are not telling us anything at this point in time, but for some reason Belgium is strongly at the top of the odds right now. So
without any other information,
I think they released the songs for the selection. The selection is coming up soon, so I'm sure we'll have opinions.
It's a decent lineup, apparently.
Apparently
good.
The selection is good, and they're kind of ahead of any other countries. So that seems to be a stronger semi-final based on the 3 songs that we've seen so far. By the way, all of the 3 selected songs are very strongly sitting at the bottom of the odds.
Okay.
Yeah, all 3. So
where is Luxembourg in which semi-final?
1 second. It's in the second semi-final, second half. Do you think that's
get to the final then?
Do you think that's the closest competitor for Lithuania, like the only competitor?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know at this point. But what we were speaking, are we gonna push through if they improve the performance? If we're like in a second semi-final, let's say the weaker one, and we're in the second part, that really helps.
Yeah, I think the chances are improving.
On Thursday and everything, they have their cards stacked up to perform well and go to the final.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll have more opinions once we hear more songs and we can discuss
exactly. Maybe we can do a special episode just on speculations of
and
who
diaspora
and what are
conspiracy
and
what are the healthy and unhelpful factors for countries to be in one spot or another.
But
I wanted to say on the topic of odds, I find it so brutal where there's multiple songs in a selection and they're doing well in the odds overall, and then a song is selected and the country plummets in the odds. It's like a reality check market correction. And especially if you liked the other song and if others liked it, it's like it feels somehow painful but justified good. Like, oh, you see, everybody doesn't like it.
Last year's odds were quite interesting because there were things crawling back to the top all the last weeks, and that was a very interesting pattern that usually the odds are set for weeks basically and nothing really moves around in the top 5 and you're like sure. But last year was an interesting one where things were changing last minute, so hopefully for another exciting year, but with less
drama, less
drama.
Police investigations
from songs.
less police.
Less police.
All right. Thank you for the contributions this week. It's been a pleasure. It's been a really fun episode. And for the viewers, if you liked it, please like, share, subscribe, comment below, above, everywhere.
Here, press here.
And looking forward to next week.
Yay.
See you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.